don't want you to send. Nataka kuko kwa mtu pande hii.
Our Chiefs of Military Intelligence, working with the Bridgeway Foundation, continue to receive rehabilitated Allied Democratic Forces, ex-combatants, captives, and abductees, plus defectors from the DRC, that's the Democratic Republic of Congo, following heightened operations Soja, ADF, particularly in the population. Among the abductees, imagine a father who takes his children to be killed. She's lucky she met the mother. Unfortunately, the mother died during childbirth, but after they had met. I do not have much to say other than, if there's any question you have, these stories are enough to make me wonder how human beings can be so animalistic as to surrender their own children in what you would think a venture that has no future. But the ideological conviction of such a person shows you how much indoctrinated he is, to the extent of not minding about his own offspring.
My name is Bulama Bukarti. I'm the Vice President of Bridgeway in Programs and DDR. So Vice President of Programs and DDR. DDR is demobilization, rehabilitation, and reintegration in our definition. Now, why is the ADF a problem? The ADF is one of the armed groups, as you know, that is active in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and they have, in the past 5 years or so, launched deadly attacks, not just in the DRC, but also in Uganda and elsewhere. And over the past 5 years, the ADF has killed 4,650 civilians. They have committed 10 attacks or attempted attacks outside Uganda, outside the DRC. And also, the group's area of operation has expanded over the past 5 years from 1,700 square kilometers to over 10,000 square kilometers. That's an expansion of over 400%. Now, the group has emerged over the past 5 years as the deadliest armed group in the DRC. Now, the question we should ask ourselves is what happened in the last 5 years? Because if you looked at 2017, ADF's attacks was almost zero in the first 6 months of 2017. In the second 6 months of 2017, they killed 51 people. 61 people I meant to say. Now, but what we started to see in 2018 is an escalation in their attacks. And then over that period, like I said, 4,650 people were killed. Now, what happened in 2018 was that the ADF pledged allegiance to the group that calls itself the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. And that group, therefore, gave the ADF additional legitimacy and also served as a source of fund for the ADF. I will get into the funds. And because it has given us the ADF additional legitimacy, we started to see fighters from other countries across the sub-region migrating from their countries to Eastern Congo in order to fight for the ADF. We also saw money flowing into the ADF, and then we saw the escalation in attack. And so what happened in 2018 was the allegiance or pledge of allegiance to ISIS, the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, that led to this escalation, or at least it is one of the major factors. Now, at Bridgeway, ADF is our current focus area. And that's because we believe that the ADF is engaged in crimes against humanity. It is committing war crimes or crimes against humanity by targeting civilians. And therefore, we are working with partners in Uganda and Congo to materially reduce ADF's ability to commit mass attacks on civilians and also bring its leaders to justice. And we do this through a range of activities. I will just mention 3 of them. Number 1 is our activity or project that is aimed at counter-financing or defunding the ADF. In that, we have worked with partners in Uganda, in the DRC, in Somalia, and other places to track the funding. Where is the ADF getting its money from? And through our research, we uncovered that most of the money that came to the ADF over the past 5 years came from Somalia. Extortion by groups in Somalia, the Islamic State in Somalia, which are then transferred to South Africa. From South Africa, they go to Kenya, and from Kenya, they get distributed to Uganda, Tanzania, the DRC, and Mozambique. And our research confirmed that the ADF has received at least 250,000 US dollars between 2019 and 2021. We worked with partners in Uganda, in the DRC, and other countries in the region to shut down that financing network. The individuals were arrested and the network was deactivated or shut down. Of course, they have continued to make efforts to continue to transfer money, but we have also been making effort to continue to shut down other means that they are using right now. So defunding the ADF is one of our activities. The second major activity is defection messaging. I wouldn't go in too deep into defection messaging because I know members of the media, some of you will join us in the flyer drops that we will be doing this week. But as Brigadier General Felix has said, there are many people, many young individuals, some of them teenagers, some of them even boys and girls, who were tricked into the ADF or were abducted into the ADF or were deceived through false economic promises or promises of scholarship, and they joined the group. Of course, we know that there are individuals who voluntarily join because they believe in the ADF's ideology and agenda, but the second reason why we should support defection is what I mentioned earlier. The fact that young men and women have been tricked or deceived into the group, they now want to come back, and it is important that we give them a second chance. The third reason is that defectors are the best source of intelligence against the ADF. They were in the group, they know how it operates, they know how it gets money, they know how it plans attacks, they know how they recruit and mobilize young people to join them. So these individuals that are defecting provide invaluable intelligence to the UPDF and to the PADEC in the DRC in order to continue to plan and defeat the ADF militarily. So these are the 3 reasons why we believe defection messaging is important.
Defense, Bridgeway, and our dear returnees. I am Nathan Trino. I'm the Chief Legal Advisor of the Amnesty Commission. Now, the Amnesty Commission's job is to welcome you back, to encourage defections, and also to grant you forgiveness for whatever you may have done in the bush or elsewhere. And what we do is we give you this certificate, which we are going to give you today, to ensure that you are not prosecuted for the crimes or whatever you may have done when you were in rebellion. And we know that most of you are children, and so we don't want to traumatize the children, and so that's why we will not label them by giving them these certificates. We will give them to the people of age 15 and above. And so that's what we do. And I want to remind you that we give amnesty once. If you re-offend, what we call recidivism,
then we don't give you forgiveness again. And so we urge you, please behave so well. We will be able to follow you and see how we can help you settle back in your communities. And so you are welcome. Please feel free. Don't fear anything as long as you get this certificate. Thank you very much.